power in human connection, push beyond physical and mental limits. Together as one, why we run. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay. Where would I start? It's something I haven't. It's something I haven't experienced before. Why we run, I suppose, is I don't like the word perfect, but it's as close as it can be, I think, as to combining the world of team sports and that camaraderie, that support for one another, that you know that you've got their back, you know, like I'm there for you, but at the same time, I'm there for myself to find out what I'm really capable of. This experience kind of has the best of team sport, it has the best of individual sport, where there is space that's created for you to be who you are, explore what you're capable, and know that there are people there to support you no matter what. That is what Why We Run is.
The route today, Blue Lagoon Loop. There's 3 loops today. We've got 45 kilometers and 1,000 meters of elevation. You're going to start by heading out that way. Where the grey railings are, you'll turn left, go around the building, you'll see a red car, turn left, and then after the toilets, turn left. You'll be on the front of the main building where we are, and then Holly will be down on the path there to direct you onto the course. Your GPX files, if you've got them on the watch, will start at that point there.
The format of the week, day 1, we've got 2 different loops. We've got the White Sands loop and we've got the Blue Lagoon loop. Day 1, 3 and 5, we run the Blue Lagoon loop, and day 2 and 4, the White Sands loop. And each loop, so day 1 is 3 loops of the Blue Lagoon, day 2, White Sands, 3 loops, day 3 is the spanner in the works, which is 4 loops of the Blue Lagoon. Runners have been asking to change the direction of the loop, but I've said no. Tough shit. Day 4 is back to White Sands for 3 loop, and day 5 is the Blue Lagoon loop again. We have more runners arriving on the weekend that are just doing the weekend option, so 100k over the 2 days basically. So I'm hoping that the runners can find whatever they need to find to get the day 3 out of the way, and then we'll be lifted by the runners on the weekend. But it's set to be just brilliant, and we've been lucky so far with the weather. A little bit of drizzle, but the sun is coming. I can feel it. And I think one final thing on Why We Run, one of my favourite quotes is, maybe this sums up Why We Run in a sentence, and the quote is, "We rise by lifting others." And that is exactly what this is, what this whole week is. Yeah.
Jen Humphries.
Detouring after the app.
Bit out of body, to be fair. I think this is the first time I've gone into a race not feeling very ready. I think as long as I can just connect back to how it makes me feel rather than the worry about doing it. But I'm apprehensive about my injury. I'm more scared about not being able to finish it than anything else. But
the things you learn from ultra running, that life makes you a better ultra runner, and then ultra running makes you better at life. I feel so feel so accepted here, like feel so, it's not even accepted, it's just, I feel so myself, so it's quiet in here. Like it's just quiet because I'm not second guessing myself or worrying. I just feel like really still. So the bubbly, I think it's funny when people say I'm a really bubbly person because I'm a bubbly person in environments that make me happy and where I feel like accepted and like I belong, and this is exactly that. Like this whole environment makes me like the happiest version of myself. Whereas I can look back on periods of my life where I felt really uncomfortable and really low and sad, and that bubbly person, like I can't see her or picture her or relate to her. So like the person that I am here, I am always just really happy to be here and like grateful that it makes me feel that way, because I've not always felt that way. But the social battery bit just comes from the fear of being in an environment where people aren't going to accept you. So I do need that time on my own to kind of just fight the fear. So that reloading bit that I do on my own when I'm running is to remind myself that you're just enough by yourself. And if you come back into this room and people don't accept you for who you are, then you're not with the right people. You're not hanging out with the right people. And everyone down in that room downstairs are some of the best people I've ever met. Like I've known them for 2 days and I know like it's energy that you just feed off. So if anything, even if I spent all day with them, my social battery would probably be fine because they charge you up because they're great people. But I'm used to finding solace and time on my own and used to taking myself out for half an hour. Like that's why I started running. I needed that solace just to kind of remind myself that you can fill your own battery and you shouldn't rely on other people to fill it for you, because I've done that. Like, and I still I love external validation far too much. But ever since I've learnt try not to rely on it, I can charge my own battery without needing someone else to do it for me.
Yeah, I'm surprisingly a little bit sore, you know. I didn't know what to expect, but my glutes firing up a little bit. Hammies are taking a bit of time to warm up, but I'm okay. It's interesting, I think, as I'm alright to say this, but like as someone who's organised the event, my mind is on everyone else, and I completely forgot about me. So now that I'm in it, and my body's starting to like tighten up, fear is coming a little bit, but I think getting day one out of the way is kind of really important.
I also think that like I did second loop by myself, and actually taking solitude in the first day has been so good. Like being forced to just be by myself and like think about why we're here and what you want out of it, and I'm really glad. Yeah, good stuff. But no, it's going well. It's just buzzing to see everyone out here enjoying it. It's like having this camera in my face is so. It's really uncomfortable. Comfortability. And it's a very different type of uncomfortable. Like out here running, dealing with this pain, this physical discomfort, it becomes easy compared to doing this. You know, yeah, honestly, I'd rather run 6 more loops and look into that camera. The irony is that like we're encouraging people all week to open up and speak about these, like be vulnerable, be open, be strong, be whatever you need to be. That's 10 times harder than putting one foot in the other. But yeah, it's a great start.
Yeah, when the rain came, it was great. I've just taken my raincoat off.
Feeling a bit more myself, going okay. I honestly didn't think, I genuinely in my head envisaged never getting around the first loop, so yeah, I feel a lot happier. You having a good day?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 2. Morning, guys. Morning. Welcome to day 2. First of all, huge congratulations. Day 1 out of the way. So far, we have raised $25,607.
Yeah, boy. Woohoo!
How we diddling?
Man, how are you doing?
Oh, I love this shit. Oh, I love it.
I think with ultra running, you can really access your inner child, and like you can run free, and you're just surrounded by this beauty of. And like I know it, like people get negative in their headspace, and it's like a mental challenge, but it's really finding positivity in the struggle and just flipping it on its head and being grateful. Like, yes, my body is screaming at me, but look at where I am. Look at what I'm allowed to do. Look what my body is allowing me to experience. And in the ultra world, like, you're surrounded by a lot of people that have gone through similar stories, and they want to be accepted. But when you're met with so much rejection, it's like you want to get in, like you come here searching for that acceptance, but then you're also held back through fear of rejection. Here is where I can really just peel back the shit and enjoy it, and enjoy myself and love myself without that fear of rejection. Like we had a conversation on yesterday, and like I said to you, I will not ask for help. And you said, we will. Like, a day will come where you will need it. And like, I pray that day comes. Because that allows me to feel like I can ask for it. You're right, look, a day will come. But I am like chasing it. Like maybe that is it. Like maybe that is me chasing it with all these dumb things I want to do. Like my naivety of like, yeah, I want to go run 100 miles, back-to-back 100 miles. Like I want to go do crazy stuff because I'm searching. Like I want to be so fundamentally broken, so broken that I have to ask for help. Like maybe that's it. Like I don't know. Like I don't know what this. Like I have spent 2 years running from a person I hated, like myself, hated myself so much, yeah, that I've just run. I've run and I've built this mentally resilient person. When I sign up to something, there is no ifs, buts, babies. It's like, I will do this. I will do it. Because the pain of that, of what I've been through, to the pain of this event, it doesn't even come close. Like, this is peace. This environment we're in is peace.
I'm actually struggling a bit, you know. As soon as you left me then, downhill, tripped over, and as I tripped and fell, kind of styled it out, but also my calf just cramped up. So I think I've been a little bit guilty of getting my hydration wrong and just taking it for granted, even though it's not a race. I'm probably a little bit down on my hydration and my fueling, so I'm going to spend 10 minutes now just kind of sort myself out. But as far as the route goes, it's stunning. It's wild horses, it's just
it's beautiful, but it's just a gentle reminder that you don't look after your body in these things, and it'll, things can go wrong.
So good, so good. Lemon drizzle. Absolutely stunning route, absolutely stunning. It's very hard, but it's just so enjoyable. Like being able to get the road bit, the 6k off the road, and then as soon as you get into the trail, your whole perception changes, and it's just soaking up the views and everything it has to offer. It's incredible. This is incredible. It's bringing up some emotions and having a lot of deep talks with some people, which is it's always good. It brings up a lot of vulnerability, because you are vulnerable, like you are suffering. You're vulnerable, and the person you're running with is vulnerable. So it just adds a whole different dynamic. You're having conversations with complete strangers about deep, meaningful stuff, and you're bonding over it.
It's going to be that way. Put it on and then take it off straight away. For God's sake. Hello. Camera. I'm a natural, clearly. On the camera.
Are we ready? Yeah! Why we run? Stay 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I came here because I knew that it would show me something that I didn't already know, and if it didn't, then it would be it would just be a celebration of my evolution, particularly in the past kind of 18 months or so. I always knew that this was going to kind of push me to see where the boundaries were for my body, and so and that's what it did. And part of what I'm proud of with this is that it was something, I've always had this kind of relationship with suffering, which was like a big part of my identity, where I find great enjoyment of in the kind of the seeking discomfort. I actually got it on my tattooed on my arm, seek discomfort. But then there's times where that's kind of crossed over into something that's kind of really taken away from my life. And so this time, I've done this experience from the moment I said I was going to train for it. I've not missed, I think in the whole time I've missed one training session. And through this whole start to when it ends today, it's been a process that's just been full of love, surrounded by love in this incredible environment, but also love for my body and respect for my body and what it can do. It's almost like this caricature of like discipline and pushing myself, and that's not just in physically, but in whatever area of life, is who I had to be to obtain a sense of like belonging and love. And then so it's always this kind of like place of lack, whereas I need to do this to feel enough. And all of a sudden, that's then transcended into actually this today is like, for me, like thinking back to where I was, just a celebration of my enoughness, celebration of like I can do this because of, just because of the way in which I choose to live, and it's okay. Whereas actually just being, finding that it's that constant dance between kind of like striving and wanting more and just being like okay where you are, and just kind of through this process and these kind of experiences and these kind of challenges has kind of actually changed it. Instead of like striving, it's that sense of just being curious to just what's out there, and instead of like going into something without having an attachment to completing it. And like you said, it was just a lot of it is there for a reason. It's there to set standards for humans and to set standards and boundaries for challenges and things like that, but a lot of the time they're just arbitrary numbers. What is suffering through just discomfort versus what is then becomes a form of self-punishment. And there's a fine dance between the two, which I have crossed over for many years just into self-punishment. And so this is really refreshing, just to be like, oh, this is a loving act.
Yeah, getting restrapped. They strapped it up this morning. I'm very grateful of them, but it's far too tight. I really want to finish the day. If I don't, then I'm okay with that. I know, and I need to listen to my body, and obviously this body right now is telling me something's up, and I just need to listen to it. So on the day itself, I really want to finish it and be with the gang, but equally, like, I'll be happy just to sit there at the end in the waiting room and just cheer people on to finish or support them. And so yeah.
Wow, day 3 done. I think it's fair to say that the long day in any ultra is pivotal in both mental and physical endurance. How we approach it and what we learn from it. There was a word that I heard the other day, Lewis will know this one, transcendence. An experience that goes past normal limits or the ability to achieve this. I think this is a word that probably many people can relate to today. I think there's a lot of people who didn't think that they were going to get to the end today, and they did. Those feats of endurance, that mental strength, that grit to keep going, I think that deserves another round of applause. Absolutely incredible today, guys. Well done. The donation fundraising count, total, whatever you want to call it, currently now at 27,454. Day 4. White Sands loop 3 times. You know the course. Weekenders. Go with these guys. I'll show you where to go.
I try and give people the space to just be what they need to be, rather than what I expect them to be or what they expect themselves to be. It's just give them the space to be vulnerable if they want to, just chatty if they want to, silent if they want to, and kind of listen actively. Just listen to what they're saying, how they're feeling, and I think, I'd like to think, and I hope that people feel safe around me enough to be able to open up about what they feel comfortable opening up about, and knowing that there's no judgment coming from me, and maybe there are some things that we've both experienced in our lives slightly differently, but with a common through line, and I can help them and they can help me. And I think it's just seeing once you see the human in front of you for just who they are, you create this space where you can develop connection in like a really profound and meaningful way. Running conclusively saved me at a point where I needed it, and it was the act of breaking a sweat with someone, running side by side, and sharing in like the discomfort of running that kind of broke down barriers. Because when you're running next to someone, you can't really think about what to say next. You kind of just speak quite honestly and with vulnerability. And I think this process this week of sharing in the pain and the suffering and the experience and the highs and the lows and everything else in between from the running gives people this connection which is like expedited. It's crazy what you get after 5 days in like a quite close confined space with people sharing in the experience, to bring out that level of connection and similarity and openness and vulnerability. And I think meaningful human connection and movement go hand in hand. And when you share that experience, you deepen the level of connection that you have with someone. You see part of them which is actually very rare for the world to see. And I think hopefully the friends that have been created this week know that they always have their back, even if they live in different parts of the country, that they know that they have love and they have support and they have shared interests and commonality, and yeah, it's a special place. I was really lucky that I had the means to afford therapy at a time in my life when I desperately needed it, where I struggled to find reasons to want to be here. And when I learnt the work that Big Moves do, it struck a chord with me, because I saw a lot of what I'd been through and the struggles that I had, and if I'd known that Big Moose had been there earlier, it would have saved me so much pain. And I've been through 3 courses of therapy with Big Moose. I'm currently speaking to my therapist at the moment, who is phenomenal. The relationship that I've been able to build with her has been so important in my life, to be able to discuss, to unpack, to rebuild from a place of darkness at times. And it's also recognising that I was so privileged to be in a position where I could get therapy, and passing that on to people who need it now is a huge driving force in my life, because I don't think therapy and talking about your mental health should be something reserved for people that just happen to be in a position to afford it. And I feel very, very deeply about men's mental health. I speak about it a lot, and I want to move the needle to a place where Big Moose one day aren't needed. And that's ultimately the goal, is that the goal should be to create a world where Big Moose have no use. But until then, I'll keep supporting them. I'll keep relying on them when I'm not strong enough to do it on my own. And I will keep pointing anyone who's willing and at a point in their life where they want and are able to talk about their mental health to Big Moose, because it takes a lot to open up, and it's very, very scary. And Big Moose make you feel seen for more than your problems. They see the human behind the problems, and they recognise that your experience isn't your identity, and they care. And I think in this day and age, finding true care and compassion is sometimes harder than it should be.
Happy? Happy with that? Yeah. I mean, Big Moose have helped me time and time and time again, mate.
Yeah, man. I just know so many people that struggle, that even myself, and my biggest issue is I would never ask for help. That's my won't bore you with it, my childhood.
You're never born with it. Okay, just reframe that. You're never ever born with it.
Yeah, well, perhaps we don't have the time to go into it right now, but my childhood was just incredibly independent. So asking for help, it's just like, I don't think I'd ever do it. Like, but I have such a need for it, which is fucking crazy. Like, so people look at someone. Come here, Chief. No, just like my mate Jules. Just look at someone. It just seems so strong. It's just like people just don't ask for help. It's not because it's not there, because I know it's there. Like, I'm pretty sure Jules knew it was there. But it's like, it's the hardest thing that people ever do. Like,
the first time you look yourself in the mirror and you recognise that you can't do it alone is a nakedness that you can't.
yeah, it's just like, because it's almost worse because like that juxtaposition of just being so strong, and like people that are used to asking, not used to asking for help, but some people do feel comfortable being like, I'm struggling, throwing it out into the world. And that's the problem with like a lot of this like run shit and ultra run shit, is like these super strong people who don't feel comfortable being like,
but it's feeling worthy. It's like it's knowing that asking for help has no impact on your value and your identity.
But this is the problem. The fucking problem is everyone know, like people know that,
but they you can know it outwardly and not
Yeah.
inwardly. You can say, do as I say, not as I do, and like.
So to end, we just want to say a massive thank you for getting involved and supporting us, and I'm sure there's people in the room who've never actually heard of Big Moose until this week, but you've believed in us enough to commit, to come in to fundraising. And at the moment, as Cookie said earlier, we're on over £28,000, which will get a full 71 people through therapy. There's less than 71 people, in this room, so it's more than this. How amazing is that? But there's a really clever calculation that's done that I don't understand. They let him do the maths. But of those 71 people, based on the statistics over the last year, it means that you guys, every single one of you in here that has fundraised, is going to save 3 lives. 3 people. So for you guys now on Christmas Day, you can think that because of you and the graft that you have put in over the last 5 days, 4 days, 3 lives will be saved, 3 families won't be grieving. So just from us, from both of us, from everyone at Big Moose, from every person that you guys are going to help, a massive thank you and a massive good luck for tomorrow.
Day 5, final day! Purpose beyond yourself. Power in human connection. Push beyond physical and mental limits. Together as one, why we run. I'll count you down.
Being here, the most powerful emotion that I've felt all week. Not to steal Jen's words, but it's joy. It's happiness. It's love, it's support, we're connected, it's beautiful. The asking for help, I can only speak from my own experience. I'm no psychologist, I'm not educated in that way, I don't understand how the human brain in depth, I don't, but I can speak from my experience, and reaching out for help was way harder than, I reached out for help after I'd done my first ultra. And in the lead up to that ultra, there's a quote I think that Rich Roll has used a few times, and it's about change, and people only change when the pain of remaining the same is greater than the power of change, essentially. And sometimes people have to hit a new low. Who knows, maybe ultra marathons have a way of peeling back those layers, of stripping you back to your core and almost creating a space for you to be vulnerable. I don't know.
Because I pushed through so much and weak just to fail at the last.
That's
It's
a
not
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
It is.
Molly, you've had this for the last. This is day 3. You're not it's. You've been so resilient. The fact you've even been going out and trying, like.
Yeah.
You're not in, like, it's not failing. It's not. It's really not.
But it just feels like everything I've put myself through all for nothing.
No, it's right, because every day you've gone out when you probably should have stopped.
Yeah.
But I know that in my experience, that running that first 125 kilometres in the Peak District, I had no right to finish that race. I trained for 4.5 weeks, and that's not a egoic. It was stupid, essentially. I would never recommend anyone do it, but I don't regret it for a second, because I learned more about myself in those 2 days than I had done in 10 years. And I know I've mentioned this to you already, but only in the aftermath where I realised that, yes, okay, I did this thing. I did this really hard thing. I proved that I could run 125k. I proved that I could push past pain barriers, that I proved that I could kind of embrace and move through that discomfort and keep moving forward no matter what I was feeling. I could do that. That's very different than like a psychological pain. And after I finished, it was only in kind of the weeks afterwards that I came back to real life, and I was still doing the same shit over and over again, and realised actually nothing's changed. I ran a race. I didn't address any of these thought patterns. I didn't go back and revisit why, again the word why, I didn't revisit why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And it was only in that low, and in Chloe from Big Moose actually calling me and realising something was up and giving me the option. I mean, the first conversation we had, she picked up on it. I don't know how she did. I don't know what I said, but my first reaction was, okay, I'm absolutely fine, don't worry about me. Like, it's that classic, and that's probably from a sporting background in this masculine environment. Like it's normal, I suppose. It shouldn't be, but it is normal. I didn't want to appear weak. It was only a few weeks later, after I realised that the help was there and nothing changed, and Chloe had said something, and then all of a sudden nothing changed again. So it was only at that point that I thought, you know what, I need help. But had I not known Chloe, and had I not felt safe in her company, I don't think I'd have done it. I don't think I'd have asked for help. I mean, I'm grateful that I was strong enough to reach out, and that's the key word. I was strong and I was courageous enough to reach out. Even though in that first conversation with Graham, I felt the weakest I'd ever felt. But I needed that to move forward. Sometimes I know that I'm grateful that I was strong enough to say something. And now 3 years later, and 3 years is a long time, I finally sat here talking to you in an environment that's, like we've said already, beautiful. That's only happened as a result of actually reaching out for help. So take whatever metaphor you want from that, that's positive. What I've learned from ultra running is that life will throw you curveballs. Ultra running is the greatest metaphor for life. You can't control like how steep a trail is, how many rocks on the trail, what the weather's doing. Like, you can't control. The only decision you have is to adapt and overcome that in whichever way you can.
I have a bit of a block about kind of taking compliments. I'm very like standoffish with it, and I probably have to work on it, to be honest. But so I think like hearing everyone else talk about how they feel, like, it's just that's what lights you up, like listening to their stories, listening to what they say to you and how they don't want to go home, how they feel like they've accomplished something they never thought they could, how just that's the energy that really kind of rings true for me, is listening to other people talk about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I've loved every single minute of this running, every single step, every single kilometre. Like today with the sun out, transformed this route, but like,
It just resonates. It just really resonates.
Yeah. And like we ran together for a bit today, and again we've got 230 odd kilometres in the legs, and that last road section, we're like, the joy of that moment, like the anticipation of the end, and just the
gift that keeps on giving. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And how you can kind of I don't want to talk about numbers, but we somehow pulled some 4-minute Ks out of our arse, like 230k into this race, and it was just the whole time we were running next to each other, pushing each other, having a laugh with it, but just beaming with smiling energy. Just like, how do you go from one extreme to the other? Like, there's so much you get from these experiences. Like, but it's, and I said it last year, the one thing that really does elevate this experience is the people.
Who knows? I love it. My mindset around running and how I use it as a tool to enrich my life. I believe, anyway, that I have a really healthy relationship with running and sport in general. You become a better human as a result of whatever modality you choose, and if running is that thing, then I want to run forever.